All right. Welcome to the first AnywayDollars Close More Deals workshop. Nick and I, along with the rest of the Liquid Soap team, have made a commitment to our dealer network and all those that we serve to show up each and every week, pick a topic, and kind of run through how we use AnywayDollars as a closing tool inside the home. So it doesn't really matter if you are in the water industry or you're in another home improvement direct sales organization. The concept behind AnywayDollars is something that we fundamentally believe in, along with a lot of our dealers. Um, I just wanted to take a minute and go through some housekeeping thing, and then Nick's going to get us started here. First of all, this is our first one, so forgive me. If you got multiple emails from me, if there was multiple registration links, we will get that cleaned up. Thanks to all of you for your feedback. It was extremely important to understand where we had basically kinks in the workflow of getting this message out there. The other thing that I ask is that you just stay on mute. We will have a Q&A at the end if you want to ask a question or you have something to say or offer or provide feedback. Feel free to do so. You can just raise your hand. I believe there's a button down there at the bottom of your screen that will allow you to raise your hand. Each week's going to be something new. So this week we're going to pick on what I call the invisible budget blueprint and how that coincides with AnywayDollars and the power of that inside the home. Again, if you haven't had this concept of AnywayDollars and you haven't used it inside the home, I hope that you leave here today with a nugget or two that you can take and implement inside your business. We see sales organization increasing their closing percentages at a rapid rate whenever they use a closing tool such as AnywayDollars. Along with that, we fundamentally believe that there's four things that will promise to you is that we can dramatically increase your close rates, we can reduce your cancellations, we can earn you guys more five-star reviews, and you can honestly get more referrals with it. We are going to be able to present out to you case studies where this has taken place inside of other direct sales organizations around the country. So I look forward to sharing that with you. We will, I know that some people are asking to record this. There will be access to this, and I will share with you how to gain access to this once we kind of go through the fundamentals today. You'll have QR codes. You can get links to different resources that will allow you to use it for your team and have the recordings of it and kind of a PDF printout of it, if you will, and touching on some bullet points. The other thing I want to talk about is next week we will be coming to you with how we use an explosion brochure as a sales rep. So think if you're here and you own the company, or maybe you're a sales manager, or you're working with a sales team in whatever capacity that looks like, the explosion brochure is one of those tools that we believe is super important to the process, and we'll talk about that in depth next week. Again, each and every week, it'll be something new. Next week, obviously, the explosion brochure. Wanted to take a moment real fast and just share with you the blueprint. So there's QR code on your screen right now. You guys should be able to see it. Nick, give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Perfect. You can go ahead and scan that QR code. That'll allow you to download this invisible blueprint. We're going to walk through that today, right? And why we believe in the power of AnywayDollars. So just hang tight with me. We'll get you that information. If you'd like a physical printout of the invisible blueprint for you or your team, or something that you showcase inside of your sales office, feel free, reach out to myself or Nick, and we can get you a physical copy of that. Nick and I wear these shirts around, AnywayDollars, and you see the trademark and the registered trademark logo. We believe in AnywayDollars, and what we hope to leave you with today is a way that you guys can implement inside your business so that you can go from there. I'll come back to this screen if anybody wants me to. I feel like I've left it up enough. We'll touch on a few more things, but Nick, I'm going to hand it over to you and you can get us started here today.
Yeah, first of all, kind of like what Josh said, just want to thank everybody for being on this call. This is something that Josh and I have talked about for a long time, just a way for us to give back and train sales teams all over the country every single week, 1 p.m. Central Time. So thank you so much for being on this call. Before we get started, I just wanted to tell a quick story and why I'm such a firm believer in the AnywayDollars and in Liquid Soap program. The soap program in itself is I was 19 years old and I bought my first house at 19 years old, and I spent all the money I had to buy this home. And I thought it's exactly what I wanted. I'm like, I'm fine. I got the money I needed for the house. Now I can just work and pay the bills and I'll be good. Well, about a month into me living in this house, 19 years old by myself, my HVAC unit just takes a crap on me. So I got to call three HVAC companies to come out to give me quotes on a new system. I had no money. And it kind of takes me back to that time when I was 19, that if one of those HVAC companies would have had a soap pack and would have really helped me to be able to afford the system that I need, wanted, and desired at the time. It would have helped me so much to be able just to take the money I was already spending and throw it into this HVAC system that I wanted. But instead, I had to find $120, $130 a month to afford the system. At the time, it was really hard for me. But if one of those three HVAC companies came in and said, listen, we believe that you should have our product. We have the best product in the market. We believe in our product so much, we have a partnership with Liquid Soap Products because we believe everybody deserves to buy this system. And we're going to give a chance for every single customer that we see to afford this system. I wish one of those three companies would have had that at the times. It would have really helped my savings and I could just reposition the dollar to afford the system. But that's exactly what we do at Liquid Soap Products is we take the money that the customer's already spending so they don't have to go find extra money a month so they can buy the system that then home sales pros using. So I just wanted to tell that story because it means a lot to me and I understand how the soap packs work and just take the money that the customer's already spending to put into what you're selling. It's an easy close and I would have closed right on the spot.
So, Nick, I appreciate you telling that story. Nick told me that story, oh, I don't know, a year ago. And what it opened my eyes to was this not only works in the water industry, but this works in all in-home service or in-home sales organization. And the reason why is because, let me ask this question, and I just want you to sit with the answer. Like, you don't have to report out to me. But if you do you believe that you and your sales team present an excellent demonstration of your product? Let me ask that again. Do you believe that you or your sales team or everybody that's included in your organization fundamentally gives a really, really good demonstration of your product? And most of you will answer yes. I've asked this question all around the country in multiple rooms, and everybody's like, yep, I'm the expert in what we're selling. And then you get to the point where you slide a price sheet in front of them and they say, wait a second. And that's typically where sales reps, right, meet resistance. And the idea around the invisible budget blueprint is that our big promise to you is that we're going to offer you a way to just completely nuke the price objection. And what I mean by that is your customer is already actually spending the money for your system, for your thing that you're selling. They just can't see it yet. Okay? And so the blueprint here is going to show you exactly how we use this in the home. And then again, we're going to come back to you each and every week, 1 o'clock Central on Thursdays. Well, you'll hear Nick or myself actually demonstrate through a role play that actually takes a customer as one of your sales representatives through the process of presenting the soap pack. Most of the people around the country, other than a few, overcomplicate this. Okay. And I just want you to understand that the idea behind the soap is yes, it's a good soap, right? But your job is not to convince somebody that's using one of the big national brands to go use Natural Visions or Pure Selects, which is our two brands at Liquid Soap. That's not your job. Your job is to help open their eyes to see that they're actually spending the money. Okay. So our big promise to each and every one of you and your sales organizations, your sales team, your admin staff, everybody that's actually getting a paycheck in your organization is that we want to give you guys a way to close more deals without asking the homeowner to spend an extra dollar. Okay? So let me walk through this. Typically, a lot of organizations, and this has come through just asking pain point type of questions. Most people believe that we have a lead problem. If you ask your sales reps today, I think what you'll find is the leads are crap. Okay? Or you didn't send me on a good demonstration. Okay? Or I got all the way to sliding price in front of them, but then I met a lot of resistance. I didn't know how to close the deal. And so I've asked this question around the country as well as what's your closing percentage within your organization? You know the standard response that I get from many? 30%. It doesn't matter what service or what sales industry you're in. You could be selling windows and doors. You could be selling water systems. You could be selling bathroom installs. It truly doesn't matter. 30% is the standard language around the country. Okay. And what typically happens is most of these customers, or excuse me, most home improvement companies, and I'm not speaking for you internally, we think that we have a lead problem. And I fundamentally believe that we have a value proposition problem. Because again, if I go back to the question of asking you, do you guys give a really good demonstration on the product that you're selling them? Most of you are going to answer yes. And listen, I've been involved with a lot of those presentations, and I mean, dead nuts, they're right on, right? It's great. But then whenever somebody slides a price sheet in front of me, what happens? Me and my spouse look across each other and we're like, oh my gosh, we know we want it, but how do we afford it? Okay. And so the average company, we believe, responds by buying more leads. They get into more marketing dollars. They hire more salespeople so that they can, I guess, wean out the salespeople that aren't performing. They increase marketing spend, right? They're trying to generate more leads because with more leads comes more sales. Or worse, they just lower their prices and they play the price game, right? So homeowners believe they need to find new money in typical situations. Me and my wife as a homeowners, we think that we need to find new money when it comes to buying your product. If you use a soap pack, I'm going to show you a way to fight through that resistance, okay? So the invisible budget is just this. I believe everybody on this call and anybody that's listening to this in the future would agree with me that all homeowners spend money on a category called cleaners and soap products, right? Whether it be laundry soap, dish soap, body wash, multi-personal or multi-purpose cleaner, glass, dish detergent, list goes on and on and on. For all of the water dealers out there that we're currently doing business with, I know they go through a demonstration where they'll literally walk into a home. They'll ask the customer to pull out all these cleaning products, whether they go up to the master shower, or they go underneath the bathroom sink, or they go underneath the kitchen sink, and they pull out all this product and they literally put it right on the table. And then it creates this like mystery experience, or like this whole thing with the consumer, and the psychology of the buyer is like, where are they going with this, right? And typically where they're going with this is when price gets slid in, right? You put the price for your product in front of them. That's whenever they get into the close with the soap pack. So we believe that the money already exists. Your consumer's already spending the money, right? The customer just simply doesn't see it yet. It's a commodity, right? Soap, detergents, cleaners, personal care items, it's all a commodity. You don't think about it whenever you guys go to the store. And what happens typically is when you run out of it, it goes in the trash, you go to the store, you buy more, and you're on this instant or this constant spending cycle that is never going to end. There's somebody that I'm very close to, and she'll ask the question this way: how many more showers are you going to take in your life? Are you going to use shampoo? Are you going to use body wash? Are you going to use bar soap? How many times are you going to clean up after you guys have dinner? How many times are you going to wash the dishes? And that conversation, right, turns into, well, I never thought about it like that. I'm always going to do those things, right? So what we're doing is repurposing the dollar, and I'll talk more about that here in a moment. Where does your money go as a consumer? So when you and I go to the supermarket, we go to Walmart, Target, Whole Foods, it doesn't matter where you shop, anywhere in the country, it doesn't matter where you shop. You're buying way more than just the actual product itself. So you see the big green circle at the top, it says 5% actual products. We've sold to the we sold to the national chains in a different side of our business. And what we know is that typically what us as consumers are paying for is a lot more than just the cleaning product. We're paying for all the advertising that they do. We're paying for all the freight and the overhead. Think about it, right? You're paying for primarily just water anyway. That's why super concentrates truly add a value. We're paying for all the retail packaging. I just said it a minute ago. When you run out of a product today, what typically happens? You take the product, you throw it in the trash, and you go buy more packaging, right? And then you pay for all the markup. The reason all these national chains exist is because they make money too, right? But where does that cost, where does that dollar get pushed down to? It gets pushed down to us as the consumer. And so, consumers, when you have this conversation, they rarely stop to calculate the true expense of it. And we really believe that's where the opportunity begins. The moment everything changes. So the reason we use soap as a closing tool is this. You get it, you go through your demonstration, you're getting a lot of yeses along the way. Ooh, I'd like to have this. Yes, I'd like to have this. I can see a desire, a need, a want to have it. But then you slide price in front of the consumer or the customer, and what typically happens? My spouse and I look across the dinner table and we look at each other and say, how in the heck are we going to afford it? And that's really where the soap pack is. The soap pack comes into how can we truly make this work? When the value is clear, the customer is now in solution mode, right? So your consumer, your prospect is, if I can see the value that this customer or this company is portraying to me, i.e. using AnywayDollars to afford the system or the thing that you're selling them, now I get into solution mode. Okay. And when I get into solution mode, it's a much easier opportunity for me as a consumer to say yes, sign on the dotted line, and the transaction goes on. Here's another thing I want to leave with you, and we'll call this the close rate multiplier. I said this a moment ago. If you go around the country and you ask many of these home improvement sales organizations what their closing percentage is, you'll typically get 30%. Okay. Now it's a roundabout figure. Some people will tell me 32. Some people will tell me 28. I've heard as high as 40, right? But typically around the country, if you went to ask anybody, pick a state, pick a city, and ask a home improvement organization what their closing percentage is, you're going to hear 30%. And my question to you is, what happens if you just increase that percentage? What does that mean to you, your organization, and your bottom line? So if I can take a soap pack and get to yes faster with prospects and leads and demos that I'm already doing, and I can close more of those people without actually having to go spend more marketing dollars, keeping my marketing dollars and my spend the same, really trying to drive down my lead cost, right? And I keep the same sales team, but I offer them a tool that they can put into their tool belt. How much could you increase your closing percentages if you offered your customer a solution to the price objection? That's what AnywayDollars does for everybody. And what we do is we have to open the eyes of the consumer to see that they're already spending the money. So we believe once they find that the budget's already there, they're already spending the money. There's another person on this call that'll tell me all the time, when I get in front of my customers, if they say, they'll ask a question that goes something like this: based on the demonstration you heard for the last half hour, is there any reason you wouldn't purchase? And typically the response is money, if they get a response. Or they'll get, no, I just want to know what the cost is. But it always goes back down to the price. And so here's my thought is, once you can uncover that they're spending the money anyway, hence AnywayDollars, right? And you can take that money that's going to the supermarket based on retail packaging, retail profits, overhead, shipping costs, and everything that gets layered onto us as consumers. Once you can uncover that budget, confidence increases and the hesitation goes away, right? And that's where deals really start to happen. Okay. So people buy emotionally and they justify logically. I purchase what you're selling because emotionally I want it. I want the new bathroom install. I want the new water softener. I want new windows in my house, and I've made the decision that I want it. Now, logically, I got to justify that decision. Well, typically logic means money, right? How am I going to afford this? To Nick's point, when he shared the story with you guys a moment ago, he was 19 years old. He had an uh-oh moment whenever he was a brand new homeowner. How in the world am I going to find $120 in my budget every month to pay for the HVAC system that I know I have to finance anyway? Right? So if you ask the average customer what they typically spend on soap products, now I don't, there's a lot of thought and feedback that I hear from a lot of dealers across the organization is, do you use that number that they tell you as what they actually spend each month on soap? But if you really get down to the root cause, think about it for you and yourself, your household. How much money are you guys spending on cleaning products? Laundry detergent, dish soap, hand soap, list goes on, body wash, shampoo, conditioner. I can go on and on and on. And many of these deals, many of these home improvement items that you're actually selling each and every night, and your sales teams are in homes every night giving demonstrations, a lot of those are going on financing. Now, I say that with the understanding that many people come to me and say, well, in my market, a lot of people pay cash. I get it, right? But they're still pulling out $10, $15, $20, $30,000 depending on what the actual product is, okay? This is where AnywayDollars kicks in. We take the money that they're already spending in the supermarket, we reposition it so that they can afford what you guys are selling. The 4 growth pillars, and I want to walk through each one of these, and I'll do it in a different meeting or a different Thursday webinar, is we can help you close more deals. We have case studies that prove that once somebody started using the soap pack to close more deals, that they can fundamentally increase their closing percentages. We also know that it reduces cancellations. How many times do you go out to a home, you get a yes, and then unfortunately they cancel in the next 24 hours? It's called buyer's remorse. My wife and I are laying in bed after we said yes to you. We're looking at each other and we're like, holy smokes, how am I going to pay for this? Was this a good decision or not a good decision? Boom, a cancellation comes in. When you have something tangible that you can relate to the consumer or your prospect that says, hey, listen, I'm already just taking the money that you're spending anyway and just reposition it to this, and they can actually see it, that's where the cancellations diminish. We know that it generates more referrals. There's a lot of people that are using it as a referral program. It's kind of an ancillary option that we have. I don't want to get into the details of that on this call, but it's something that if you use it properly, it can generate more referrals. And then what we also think, or what we also have proved to be true, is that you can actually earn 5-star reviews with this thing. Once customers can afford what it is they want and desire, they're going to tell their friends and family about it. And once you can, you can find a champion for your business, meaning a customer that fundamentally believes that you removed all the pricing objections. Now you have a raving fan. Okay. The invisible budget impacts all that without increasing the marketing budget and without lowering your prices. So I want to spend a little bit more time on this. We think that the average sales rep, and again, this comes through talking to many different organizations and many different sales organizations and teams, is that an average sales rep gets really good at the demonstration. Whatever it is you're selling, maybe it's windows, maybe it's waters, maybe it's bathroom inserts, they get really good at that demonstration. But they typically get to the point where they got to compete on price. How many of your people have heard this? I've got to think about it. I'm not sure I can afford it, or I'm getting other quotes. And what that tells you is I'm getting other quotes to see who's the cheapest. Okay. And then they say, well, listen, I know that $30,000, $15,000, $10,000 sounds like maybe you weren't prepared for that this evening. I actually have, we partner with financing companies that really take away the pain point of the 10 or 15 grand. We can amortize this out for 10 years, 5 years, 15 years in some situations, or longer. Okay. And then you're on this hamster wheel. Your sales organization's on this hamster wheel, typically chasing new leads, right? I've said it half a dozen times already. Typical sales organizations close at a rate of 30%. So that means 10 demos that you guys actually get in the door with, 3 of them are closed. My question to you is, what's your lead cost? Only you know that, right? So if you think about your lead cost, like how much money are you leaving on the table with the 7 you didn't convert? Now, I'm not saying our program is going to allow you to close at 100%. I'm not saying that. But if I helped you close it at a clip above the percentage you're closing at now, what's 1, 2, 5, 7% mean to you and your bottom line? So an elite rep creates the value. How do we create value with a soap pack? We literally open their eyes to the money that they're already spending. Okay? We reveal that hidden budget. We answer with clarity so that they understand that they're spending the money already. And then we convert the existing leads into actual installs. Okay. The question every customer asking is, it's not whether they say it out loud or not, but I know that you know this, right? Is how can we afford this? I want it. I desire to have it. You guys went through an awesome demonstration. Now, how am I going to afford it? It's always the question. And typically, most salespeople will answer with financing. Okay. I can put this on a financing. I can eliminate the burden. Everybody has an extra few bucks in their pocket each month. Well, we live in an economy now where there's a lot of pricing pressure, right? Wages aren't keeping up with inflation. And so what's happening is that extra money that they had in the room, the extra room they had in their budget each and every month is getting depleted. My question to you is if you fundamentally believe in this, and reach out to Nick or myself in a one-on-one and we'll take you through the close, right? Is if you fundamentally believe in they're actually spending the money already, they're just not getting your product. We call them anyway dollars, right? And if you teach your salesperson how to extend that value to the consumer and unlock the hidden costs that your customers already have, that's where we actually close deals. Okay. So the question isn't how can they afford it? It's can they afford not to understand where their money is already going? My question to you is that's something that you truly believe in, and we all agree, I think, that we're spending this money anyway. If we can unlock that and uncover that, the conversation and the closing becomes much easier. So here's your next step. I encourage you, and then I'm going to pass it over to Nick, and he's going to kind of talk a little bit about a few things here. But I encourage you this. We have a lot of different resources for you, and I'll have Nick talk about them here in just a second. But we have a podcast that's out there, we have a university that's out there, and all these resources are meant because we actually have a passion in life to take our knowledge, to take our expertise in sales. We've both been in the in-home sales business to actually help you in your teams. Whether we do it one to many like we're doing it today, or whether we do it one-on-one in your office, we're happy to do that. So, Nick, I'm going to turn it over to you and just ask you to kind of walk through some of these other resources that they have, and you can talk a little bit about what each one is. And then we'll open it up for questions. So, if you want to talk to them a little bit about our resources, our YouTube channels, our podcast, and what they're designed to do.
Yeah, so you guys see the QR code right now. Just take a second, scan the QR code, log on, or just put your information in. It's going to keep you updated in a couple things. Number one, it's going to keep you updated with everything that's going on with Natural Visions and Pure Select. So if we have new product or stuff changes or whatnot, that's going to keep you updated. Another thing it's going to give you access to is Coffee with Coleman, which is a podcast with Josh Coleman. Something else that we're really excited about. He's already done, I don't know, 5 or 6 podcasts with just top performance or top leaders in the water industry. There's going to be in the solar industry, HVAC industry, bathroom industry, etc. So log into Coffee with Coleman. It's about leadership. It's about management, ownership, sales. It's a little bit of everything. So it helps every company with the podcast. So go ahead and check that out. And then there's something else that's coming out. I think it's on the next slide is LSP University. This LSP University will launch August 6th. And what LSP University is, it's on-demand training for every sales rep in the field. Owners will have access to it, leadership will have access to it, and sales reps will have access to it. One of the reasons why we wanted to start LSPU, which is what I call it, is we want to help these sales reps have on-demand training anytime they need to be trained. You know, one of the things that we struggle with through the years is if I go and visit somebody, let's say in Florida 1 week, and I train all their sales staff and they're ready to go. Well, it's hard for me to fly back to Florida and over to California on the same week, every week. We all experience turnover. We all experience getting new sales reps inside the office. So we wanted to give back and give away for businesses to give LSP University to the sales reps. So either if they're new or they've been there for a while, they want to freshen up. You know, I just made this huge hiring process. This is a way for us to train them on the soap close. And just anything that has to do with the closing techniques is going to be on LSP University. We have an old co-owner through the company of liquid soap products named Harry Singer. He's got a lot of videos on LSP University that are old, but the language has always stayed the same when it comes to in-home sales. So really excited about that. If you need access to any of this stuff, well, there's a QR code right there. So go ahead and scan that. That's going to give you access to next week's webinar. Like I said, this is going to be every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. We're looking forward to it. We're going to have a new topic every week, but the message is going to stay the same, is that we want to help in-home sales professionals close more deals. No matter what industry that's in, we firmly believe that every homeowner that anybody visits should be able to afford your system. I believe that in America or anywhere, we work hard enough and long enough that we should be able to buy what you're selling them. And sometimes that's not the case. Not every family can afford what you're selling them inside the house. And the soap close helps every single family that you visit to be able to afford what you're selling them.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Nick. So a couple things just so you guys know where we're headed with this whole thing. I want to just talk about it from a 10,000-foot view today and what Anyway Dollars is. When we get into next week and beyond, we're really going to get into the fundamentals of the close. So we have a lot of tools, whether it be the new gift box that just came out or launching of new products to create a better experience for your customer, or site sellers. Maybe you're using, for those that have been with us for a long time, you know what site sellers are. And so it's a booklet about all of our products so your customers know that these are safe products, green products that are safe to use in the home and around pets and kids and things like that. Or maybe it's the explosion brochure, and that's really the thing that explodes out the value so you understand where it comes from. Maybe it's a new website launch, whatever it may be. I would encourage each and every one of you, along with your sales team, to just spend 30, 45 minutes with us each week. We're committed to this. Our job is really simple: help you guys close more deals, and I couldn't say it any more cleaner. So I appreciate each and every one of you. If you have any questions for Nick and myself, you reach out through registering on one of these QR codes. We'll be sure to get back in touch with you. We see whenever you download something or you register for something. So one of the two of us will be in touch. But for that, I will just kind of open it up to questions. If you guys have questions, again, for anybody that scanned the QR code here on the download of the blueprint that we covered today, you guys will get a digital copy of that. It's just a PDF. If you want a physical copy to hand out to your sales team or anybody on your team, feel free to reach out and then we'll make sure that you get a copy of that. I think it's a quick 5-10 minute read that people can wrap their heads around when it comes to the definition of what Anyway Dollars really is. So I'll stick around for a few minutes. I'll go on mute. If you have questions, feel free to come off mute and go from there. I do want to let you know this, and I think this is good housekeeping too. I don't believe I addressed it up front. Next week, we're going to take this. This is like a Zoom meeting. It's going to go to a Zoom webinar, and that way everybody can come in anonymously if you don't want to put your name on the screen or whatever. But it allows more people to come in. I know we had, 40 or 50 different registrations for this, and they want the replays and things like that. The replays will be sent out each and every week. It won't be immediately after, but it'll be, within the next 72 hours that you guys will get a video link to this recording. Appreciate you guys.